Pricing your home effectively is one of the most important things you do when preparing to sell your home. There is no magic formula, but if you don't have a system, you might as well pick a number out of the sky and consult a magic 8-ball. This is the first in a 3-part series where we're going to talk about price. The other two coming up are competition and condition. Stay tuned to our channel, subscribe below, make sure you get onto those as soon as we publish them. This video though will focus on that 500-pound gorilla in the room, and that's price. Everybody wants to talk about price. Everybody has an opinion on price. We're also going to talk about the difference between an AVM, an automated value model, and a CMA, a comparative market analysis. We're going to discuss the fundamentals of price and value and who determines which. And we're going to talk about your choices as a seller. There's a lot of talk today from the big National Association of Realtors all the way down to the local level to talk about accuracy matters, accurate data matters. That's true, that's important, but trusting one exclusive source of whether it's an AVM or a CMA, I don't care where it came from, trusting one source above all others is a mistake. Take all of the information, all the data that you can pull in, and then make a human decision. Take that and do what we call as a gut check. Check it. Does it make sense? Is it accurate? Is it relevant? Is it realistic? We'll get into all of that in a minute, but first I want to make sure that we touch on one important thing, and that's establishing the basic fundamentals of an open marketplace. Not real estate specifically, but an open marketplace anywhere. Who sets the price? That's the person with the product or providing the service. That's the person who has the thing that people want to buy. Who sets the value? The market sets the value. The buyer sets the value. The person willing to pay you or pay someone for that product or service is the one who sets the value. Do yourself a favor and get someone in the door that understands how the market works, not how a computer program works, how price is established and value is established, and the relationship between the two. When it comes to setting price for a home, two terms generally come out, and that's an AVM and a CMA. The AVM is an automated valuation model. You don't hear this quite as much. It's a little bit more of an inside baseball thing, but most people will have heard of a CMA, a comparative market analysis. Now, what that is and what this AVM is, they're basically the same thing. They take data from listings that have either sold or withdrawn or on the market currently. They pull them in, they do some averaging, they do some median pricing, and then they spit out a number and give you a bunch of nice fancy charts and all kinds of other different things, but they're all basically the same thing. Everybody uses an AVM or a CMA, whether or not they realize it or not. There are those that you pay for, there are those that come with your MLS. Some agencies and brokerages have their own model. There are some famous automated valuation models out there, like the one from Zillow called a Zestimate. And just like the Zestimate, every automated valuation model that is used by an agent or anybody else has its limitations. It has its pluses, it has its minuses. So what you have is a couple situations. One is you have an agent who just uses their system exclusively, whether it's through their MLS or through their company or they pay for it, whatever. They just use whatever number comes out of the machine and they go with that because that's what's on the printed page and that's what they're going to present to you when they sit down for their half-hour-long listing presentation about how wonderful they are. The second type of situation that you're likely to find is the agent who does all of that same stuff that the first one does, but now they just make arbitrary changes to the numbers just because they don't want to seem like they're following a computer model. There's no real fact or analysis or any other type of thing behind it. They just don't want to have the exact same number, so they'll go up or down, sometimes only a matter of a couple $100, but just so that it seems like they're in charge with this thing and, well, that computer isn't exactly what it's cracked up to be, but I'm the one you need to hire because I'm a little bit smarter than this computer. Now, the really bad situation that you want to avoid are the agents that cook the books. They're the ones that inflate the price of the house in order to entice you as a seller to go with them. They just wanted to get the listing, and then they're going to beat the crap out of you for the next couple months about trying to lower the price. It's not the agent, And it's not you who determines that value. The buyer does. The market does. So the first step in the process is to gather data. Include your local MLS, because there is information in there that just quite frankly isn't available anywhere else. You can get information about seller concessions. So just because the sales price was X amount of dollars, the sellers kicked in 10 grand on seller subsidies to help the buyers with closing costs. Now what that does is that in effect means that they got a lesser price for their home. It doesn't show up on the sales price because that's not how it's financed. It's not how it works out on the end, but the net back to the seller is less. You as a seller need to understand that it's your net that's important, not the price. There's a lot of things that happen after that initial agreement on price that can pull money away from you. The next is competition. You have to know the competition. Now, competition isn't just the ones that are on the market right now or under contract right now. It's everything. It's the listings that sold. That's competition, folks, because everybody's looking at that. Your buyers across the other end of the table are looking at the solds as well in order to tabulate and calculate the offer that they're going to make. So you need to look at that too. That's your competition. The next place to look are those big, nasty, mean portals that everybody likes to talk about. That's your Zillow and your Trulia and your Realtor.com and any other one that you can think of. You've probably already been there and run a Zestimate or some other type of automated valuation model to see what your home is worth in order to prepare yourselves for selling. Guess what? Buyers are doing the same thing. Now they may be way off the mark, but that doesn't mean they're not important. You need to pull them in. We're in gather data phase, not analysis phase. And you're better off having it, not needing it, than needing it and not having it. Next up is seeking input. No one knows everything about every neighborhood in every town in every area. You can't. It's impossible. That means talking to appraisers. That means talking to inspectors. That means talking to other people in the area, neighbors, agents who have sold other homes in that area, agents who have rented other homes in that area. Is there a special assessment that affects this property versus some of the others? Two almost identical houses in two different neighborhoods. One has a special assessment, one does not. It means it costs more to live at one than the other. The last portion is a gut check. This is the most important piece of all of this. Does it pass the sniff test? Did we miss anything? Take a look at all the things that you've pulled in and try and figure out, does this even seem right? Does this just seem way low? Does it seem way high? Does this seem right? Do we have all the information we need in order to make a decision? When I was in Baghdad in 2008, I had an intelligence officer come to me recommending that I take this certain bridge with our convoy to get across the Tigris River. He saw that as the best option. I saw it as a pretty terrible option because our United States Air Force had eliminated that bridge from existence in 2003. You need to have that gut check and you need to go ask somebody before you go making recommendations that are way off the mark. The next step after gathering all the data is analyzing the data. Now is when you start to see some patterns emerge. You start to see some price ranges. You start to see some commonalities, some features. You start to see that certain homes start to be priced a certain way. And when they're priced a certain way, they sell in a certain time frame. Now is when you start to develop your courses of action, your COAs. Condition and competition are critical. And again, we're going to talk about those in future videos. But if the comparable properties from a certain time frame at a certain price were of far worse condition or far better condition than the home that you're trying to sell, that's going to have an impact on the price that you establish and the value that the market is willing to pay. You're analyzing the data for relevance. Are you using the comparables that you should be? Is there a neighborhood or a home or a set of homes that you just missed? A very relevant situation here in Loudoun County is the new home construction versus the very recent construction. So you could have a neighborhood that's only 4 or 5 years old compared to a new home right down the road. The market could perceive more value by getting custom features built to suit than a home that is already built and has the features that you liked and not necessarily the ones that they want. After you've gathered the data, analyzed the data, it's time for us to make a recommendation. Our goal is to give you the information, education, and advice you need in order to make the best decisions. We're going to give you a course of action that we think is the main one that you should focus on based on what we know today. but we're also going to give you some options that show you what might happen if. If this happens, then that. If this happens, then you need to do that. If you like this, you need to do that. We're going to give you some options. So make sure that you understand that there are pluses and minuses for pricing high, pricing low. The choice is ultimately yours. But I would caution you not to pick the agent that just comes in with the highest price. Every decision has strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Understand the full big picture and hire somebody that can help you understand that and maybe point out some things you haven't thought of. You are paying for maximum effort and exceptional results. Why settle for average? Why settle for the agent that's going to sit back, rely on one system, generate a number, pump that out to you, cross your fingers, set it, forget it, post and pray, sit back and see what happens? There is no secret sauce. There is no secret family recipe. It's all about understanding the fundamentals, understanding the relationship between price and value, gathering the best data, analyzing that data, making sure that it's accurate and relevant, and then making recommendations based on what is best for you. Giving you the information, education, and advice to enable you to make great decisions. That's our purpose here, and thank you for watching this video, the first of 3.
So several things have interrupted our shooting tonight and have taken us into...
It's after 1 o'clock in the morning and we're still here shooting because, well, I don't quit. That's just not in our nature. So how many other agents are willing to do that? Has an opinion on what a home should. Dang it. That, after all, is what you want. You want to be able to make, I don't want to tell you what you want. Please like and share. Don't keep us a secret. Thank you. Good night.